do they know where you're going? Do they know how fast you're going? Do they know when you're braking? Do they know if you ignore road signs?
So the technology around telematics has changed and is evolving all the time. It is traditionally known as a black box in a vehicle, but could also be an app that you downloaded onto your phone, or a small device that you've plugged into the vehicle yourself, perhaps in the cigarette lighter. But it's looking at factors such as speeding, braking, and acceleration.
Using GPS?
A number of factors, GPS being one of those as well. But I think the important piece here is that it gives the driver the ability, the transparency and the ability to look at the journey after it's happened and understand where there were things that could have been done better. And what we can see is when you are able to moderate your driving and understand it, you can clearly change that behaviour, which has the benefit of reducing road casualties.
Which is wonderful, but it also gives person or persons unknown the opportunity to know where you go, who you visit, and so on, which is a huge intrusion into civil liberties.
I have a device like this in my car myself, and it's absolutely moderated the way in which I drive. And actually, as my children become of driving age, it's something that I would make sure that they do. We conducted some research ourselves here at Lexus Nexus, speaking to drivers of different age groups as well, so those aged 25 to 59, and 4 out of 5 said actually they would be interested in adopting this type of technology.
Yeah, but that's not to answer my question in the slightest. My question is that whilst this is all wonderful for driving, and I totally concur with you that there are benefits, it means that person or persons unknown are able to track where we go, potentially who we see, and that is a huge intrusion into civil liberties. And I don't care if 100% of the population says anything different. It is an intrusion into our right to go about our business without the state or anybody else monitoring us.
These policies are actually optional,
yes.
But if we consider that 500 people are killed or seriously injured each week on our roads, actually any initiative, of which telematics is one, that starts to reduce those casualty numbers, has to be welcomed.
Ban cars. That would reduce it dramatically if you really want to protect people. But again, you're not addressing the issue of civil liberties, the freedom to go about in this country, a free country at the moment, without intrusion or being monitored by Big Brother or who else. This is a major step forward. And I agree, it's voluntary now, but it doesn't take a mastermind to work out, join the dots. We can save lives, we can cut the NHS budget, let's make this compulsory. And at the same time, we know from things like the data breach, NSA, Cambridge Analytica, that there are people, bodies out there that want data, that want to know where we are, what we're doing, and not always for our best interests.
The analysis here clearly shows the reduction in casualty rates for an insurance product actually with telematics that is optional. It's optional, it's also transparent, and it allows the consumer or the customer themselves to absolutely understand the data that's being used and challenge it where they feel it's appropriate. But I will come back to those statistics that clearly show the benefits, and not actually just for young drivers, also the benefits for those drivers of all age groups as well, who can both reduce casualty rates but also potentially enjoy sort of more affordable insurance rates too.
So Martyn, do you think then, given the saving of lives involved, that these boxes should be made compulsory in all cars?
So we encourage the government, insurers and road safety organisations to raise awareness of these solutions in the market so that more individuals can benefit from this type of proposition, but also resulting in greatly improved driving and reduction of casualty rates.
So you don't think they should be made compulsory?
I think that's a question for the government, but absolutely what we do endorse is a greater adoption of this type of technology because of all the benefits that we can see.
Although we haven't addressed, or you haven't addressed, any of the negatives at all.
The statistics here...
No, you can do the statistics all day long, and I've also told you another brilliant way to reduce road casualties, which is to ban cars. So if we're going to go down authoritarian approaches or radical new approaches to reduce road accidents, there are other options on the table. However, I'm talking about civil liberties. I've asked you 3 times about the impact of this data being handled either legitimately by persons I don't know in government or illegally by bodies that we've already read about in newspapers that have done terrible things with our data for various ends that weren't originally intended. And that is a terrible thing for our society. And here we are talking about a wonderful piece of technology which can save lives, but also could lead to the government and personal persons unknown studying and following our lives, and that is not acceptable in a free country.
Look, I'll come back to the million or so, drivers, young drivers.
You're enjoying this, aren't
you? There are a million or so young drivers who are benefiting from this type of solution, and it is transparent and it is clear.
There's probably loads of Russian bots and various other dodgy organisations that do things that Cambridge Analytica have allegedly done in the past that are also enjoying black boxes. And let's see. Well, I'm sure one day we'll all know the truth when we get barcodes printed on our faces and are monitored wherever we go for our own safety.